Hello there. Welcome to another edition of Welding Joints 101. Today we're going to talk about some different joints that are in play. Some of the ones that we're talking about today are beveled welds, beveled edge welds, and then double beveled welds. We start looking at a beveled edge weld, and what we're doing is on the edge of the steel itself, we're going to look and see you got like a 45-degree cut, and the bottom side is not cut, it's still perfectly flat. Some advantages of this versus a standard just butt weld is a butt weld you're just filling the two together, whereas you start looking at a beveled edge weld, and what you're doing is you're going to space them apart a little bit, but you're actually going to weld them and really get into the material. You'll actually melt the material, and we'll cut mostly into the weld and fuse these together with the bead of the welding rod. So the single beveled is good. Sometimes you got some thicker pieces of steel, and you really need to do is do what's called a double beveled weld. Okay, and what a double beveled edge weld is, or a double beveled weld is where you've got edges on both sides of the steel, and right here. So you got both sides of the steel are actually going to be 45 and 45. See, this one here only has a 45 on the one side, where this one here is a 45 on both sides. And so what a double bevel will do is you'll actually be able to put a bead on the top side, then you'll flip it over, and this is for thicker steel especially, and then you'll put a bead on the back side. Now, some advantage of this is your bead will sit right down flush with the steel itself, so there will not be a hump or a rise in the metal bead, versus if you did a normal butt weld, okay, you're always going to get a little bit of a rise. Even if with a space between them, you're going to get a little rise because of the filler metal. But with this, you're going to blend it right in, and I'm actually going to weld this here in a few minutes, but you'll actually blend this right in where it'll be almost sitting flush with the steel itself. And because of that, it'll make a nice smooth surface where you shouldn't have to do any grinding, or in case you've got a tight spot. Let's say you're trying to hook two pieces of steel together, but they have to be movable, but they've got to sit flush. This particular joint, it would sit flush, and the bead will sit flush in there. So that's what the beveled weld advantages are. Another thing too is it's more material that you can actually sink down in and get more penetration deep down inside the weld, so it'll be a lot better bead for it. So the next video we'll show is the after product, and you'll see what these will look like as they're welded together.